Hello, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Counting Sheep podcast. My name is Ruth, and I will be your host. This is episode 19. I can hardly believe it. So welcome, everybody, and thank you for coming by and spending just a little bit of your time with me. I so appreciate it. And let me know if there's anything within my content that resonates with you. You can leave a comment down below, and also liking and subscribing also helps as well. So yeah, welcome to a February day in Vermont on my small sheep farm where I live with my husband, my dog Cooper, my cat Dora, and 4 sheep and 10 chickens. Actually, we just lost a chicken, believe it or not, but still getting nice fresh eggs, which is great. So I have a lot to get into for this podcast, so I'm going to jump right in. My podcast is about crocheting, knitting, spinning, any other fiber things that I get up to around here in Vermont and northern New England. I actually have 2 FOs, and I'll start off with those. I'll start off with what I have on. This is the Icebreaker vest by this is by Elizabeth Smith. This is the pattern, and she hails from Freeport, Maine. Has a lot of very nice, well-written patterns, easy to follow. So I'm just going to back up and stand up a little bit here so you can kind of get the full effect. So she's got this nice little lace portion at the bottom, and a nice decrease in the top here with the V-neck, and that is the back. Yeah, I'm loving it. This thing almost knit itself. It's done on number 10 needles with bulky weight yarn, and I use Malabrigo Chunky, and the colorway is Tuareg. This is the color, and that's about pretty spot on with color range there. And I had this almost full ball left over, plus about, I would say, anywhere between 1/4 and 1/3 of another ball left over, or I even say half, so about 1.5 balls left over. So what I decided to do is to take some of it and make my mom a hat. She said she really needs a hat, and so this is the hat I made. This is crocheted, and this pattern is by Tinderbox, and otherwise known as Courtney Cox, and that's her there with her hat on. This is called the Frankie hat. She names all her patterns after female names, so that's her. And this was a quick make too. She calls for in the pattern a 6mm hook, but I found I had to go up to a 6.5mm hook. So there it is. It's got a double brim on it, so, and a nice top. She has a pom-pom on hers, but I'm not sure how my mother really feels about pom-poms, so I'm leaving mine kind of plain, and if she wants to buy a pom-pom and add it, that's up to her. So yeah, very nice, warm. This brim is meant to keep your ears nice and warm, so thought I'd show that off. That was maybe an evening's worth of work, so very quick to make hat if you're looking for one. And Courtney's patterns are lovely. I'm doing another one of hers right now, which I will show you in a bit. And very well written, very well spelled out, so yeah, highly recommend. So those are 2 FOs already, finished objects, my Icebreaker and the Frankie hat. So both done in the same yarn, the Malabrigo Chunky. This one. I think I'm going to make, with the rest of this, a knitted ear warmer, because I think I have enough. So that's that, and I'm going to be putting this in the mail to my mom today. All right, let me see where I'm at here with all the makes. All right, I'm going to jump right into whips because those are my only two finished objects. I'm going to start with what's behind me, a year of crochet stitches. I showed you this, the calendar. It's a flip calendar, so every day you get a different crochet stitch for the month, for the year. And I did start on January 1st. I have to admit I'm a couple of days behind, probably 4 or 5 days behind on this. But I love how it's turning out. I am using Piece Fleece worsted weight yarn. And as you can see, it's a pretty organic type of thing. Whatever the stitch pattern is, I kind of just attach my yarn and I go. So it really needs another blocking. I find it's better to block this yarn. This blanket, this project is better off being blocked every so now and then just to keep it kind of square, because the stitches are, as you can imagine, you know, all different from one another with different gauges, and it just keeps it from going too wonky on you. Yeah, but I'm really enjoying this. This is great. I love doing the different stitches every day. Yeah, and then, you know, I'm just kind of attaching it as I go. You know, I'm attaching the yarn and doing a rectangle or a square shape or whatever feeling strikes me. So this thing is already huge. And, you know, we're only halfway into February, so I'm thinking it's probably going to be done soon. You know, probably be done in April. But what I did hear a rumor that the Piece Fleece is actually coming back. A lot of the shops were out of a lot of the colors, and I think it was due to a supply chain issue. And I heard from Mother of Pearl Yarn Shop in Freeport, where I'm going to be going in a couple of weeks. They're getting some more colors in, so while I'm up there I might snag a few, just some different colors than what I have to add to the blanket. But where I'll stop in terms of its size, you know, that's, you know, up in the air. I'll see what happens. You know, it's kind of one of those freeform crochet projects that's never really done until, you know, all of a sudden you say, that's it, I'm done. So yeah, that's a year of crochet stitches, and using size H hook, which is 5mm hook, and yeah, I'll you know, keep you abreast of what's going on with that. All right, so my next whip is another Courtney Cox Tinderbox pattern, and I did quite a bit of work on this this past week. I think my other projects suffered because of it. But this is the Laurel Henley, and there is Courtney herself in her Laurel Henley. So a Henley is kind of a shirt-like garment with a short button placket going down the center front. And I decided to do mine in this wonderful yellow, which is Jagger Spun. And this is a sock yarn, but it's 100% superwash wool, so there's no nylon in it. Super soft, and it's in this colorway called Lemon, and it's a nice lemony yellow there. Really gorgeous. I'm enjoying working on this project very much. I had to go down a hook size. My gauge was a little too loosey-goosey from what the pattern called for. But here is my progress. And as you can see, I think I was up here, and I finished off kind of the placket. I have it closed with stitch markers right now because I'm waiting on my buttons. She recommends sewing the buttons on before you go any further, just so you know you like the placement and that sort of thing. But what I did was just use stitch markers to mark the placement of the buttons, and I like where they are, so I just went ahead and That's more like the color there. Yeah, really cool. Cool construction. Excuse me, I got a hair in my mouth. Yeah, so I've split for the sleeves. And now it's just all body work. And I am so enjoying this. Highly recommend her patterns. They're very well spelled out. And this would be great for an adventurous beginner crocheter, I would say. Yeah, it uses the linked double crochet, which I am just loving because it's a really nice drapey fabric, and there's no holes, so it makes for a nice garment. Yeah, and then this, of course, is the back, and she does some short rows as well, which is great. It brings up the back a little bit so that your back is covered, you know, your hindquarters. So yeah, so that is the Laurel Henley by Tinderbox, otherwise known as Courtney Cox. Yeah. And she has her patterns on Ravelry and also Etsy and her own website. So yeah, that's an awesome thing. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I think I'm going to do her other Henley, which is done in DK, just because I enjoy it so much. It's really fun. I'm going to show you my other whip, my other crochet whip, which I haven't been able to do much work on. I showed it the last time. This is something I dug out of the archives. My whip archives, I should call them. From the whip archives, that should be a segment. This is the Ginan, Ginan. This is a pattern from Morit magazine number 3. I shouldn't say I didn't do anything on it. I did do one or two rows on it because I just thought I had forgotten completely how to do this stitch, and it was worrying me a bit, so try to figure out what's going on. So anyway, so yeah, this is a round neck pullover, but it's done in Tunisian crochet. And let me show you my hook. This is a Leica Tunisian crochet hook with the cable. Yeah, and this is an eye size, which is 5.5 millimeter. Anyway, and the yarn that I'm using is from Blue Barn Fiber, and they hail out of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. The base is Squishy Sock, and the colorway is Blue Blooms. I think I stumbled on this before. And there it is in the skein. Here it is in the ball. Very cool. And the idea with this particular pattern is, I'll show you the picture. It's meant for this type of yarn where you get this little blip of color every so now and then. So you make a little raised stitch every so now and then. At your discretion, however you like. This is the swatch. Just a short swatch that I did just to get gauge. And so this is kind of where I'm at. I think it was kind of where I was at before. But yeah, it's kind of cool. And so I will let you know. I'm going to try to work on this a little more this go around. So I always say that, don't I? But anyway, yeah, highly recommend. Of course, all of the patterns in Morit magazine are wonderfully curated. You can't go wrong. The editor does a wonderful job gathering those talented people that make garments and shawls and all sorts of things. So, all right, so that's the Ginan. Not too much progress there. I do want to mention a folly of mine. Last time I showed you this pattern. I was going to make some crocheted socks, and this is the Woodland Walker socks, which is a pattern you can get from Webs, which is www.yarn.com. And I bought this along with the yarn to go with it. And I sat down, wound up my yarn, and it's a toe-up sock, so I started with the magic ring and all that, and then, realized that this is all done in waistcoat stitch. And if you don't know what that is, it's a type of stitch that makes a single crochet look very similar to the knit stitch. And there's this very specific spot where you need to insert your hook. And about a year or two ago, I made a hat all in waistcoat stitch plus color work. And while it's a beautiful hat, it took me forever and a day to make it, because you really need to stay loosey-goosey when you're doing waistcoat stitch. I mean, especially when you're trying to insert the hook where you need to go, which is basically dead on in the center of the stitch. But you also have to be mindful of where it comes out in the back. But anyway, enough said. Waistcoat stitch is not a favorite of mine, and I knew that if I was going to do 2 pairs of socks of this, I'd probably be driven mad. So I kind of put that on the back burner, but yet I still had the itch to make a pair of crocheted socks. So I turned to my hero, Joanne Scrays, from the Crochet Project, and these socks she made. She designed 2 pairs for this particular publication. It's actually, I think you can get it on Ravelry still, and it's just kind of an ebook. And it's called Riley and Saunders Socks. So this one's actually the Saunders socks. This one is not the one I'm doing, but this is just to show you that this is the cover of that particular e-document. And these are the Riley socks here. And I'm thinking, that I might make these a bit longer so that they'll come up, over my boots. But anyway, I did start these. I'm doing mine 2 at a time. So let me just show you here. The yarn I'm using, by the way, I should just back up and start there. This is Huntington by Valley Yarns, which is Webs's yarn line. And this is a 75% superwash merino wool and 25% nylon. This is colorway navy or number 22. And the other one is gray seagull, number 23. So Huntington is the yarn. And here's one of my socks. I'll show it to you. So this is the navy up top, where the cuff is, and then the seagull is down below. So a really cool stitch, nicely textured, stretchy. So, and I have tried this on already. That is the beauty of doing a top-down crocheted sock. You can try it on. Take your hook out and just slip it on, make sure the fit is good. This is the other sock that I started. So I do a couple rows here, and then I go back here, and so hopefully, the purpose is to have 2 socks done at the same time. So yeah, really cool. So that's kind of where I'm at with knitting socks or crocheting socks, is that I don't want them to be overly onerous. And waistcoat stitch, while it's a beautiful stitch, there's only so much patience I have with it. So, so yeah, I'm using an E hook, believe it or not, 3.5 millimeter. I used a C, I believe. C's not here. C ran away, but for the cuff. So, and that's the navy. Yeah, it's a nice combo. So, yeah. So that's kind of my foolishness with crocheted socks for this episode. I still love the look of the Woodland Walker socks, but maybe when I'm feeling like I have a little more patience, I might tackle this one. We'll see. But yeah, so that's kind of what happened with that. All right, call that whip interruption. So, okay. Anyway, on to knitting. That was all my crochet for this time around. I wanted to show you my progress on my star cardi. This is a pattern by Donna Kay, and I've shown this sleeve before. This is the first sleeve I've done. And then the second sleeve I am almost done with. Can you believe it? So here it is. I have gotten up to the point where you cast off for the underarm here, and I'm doing the sleeve cap. So voila. Yeah, I'm so in love with this pattern. When you're going back and forth in color work, it kind of slows you down. At least it does for me. I slow down a lot when I'm doing color work. So I try to keep when I'm going back and forth, I try to keep the public side in front of me, which means that I have to purl backwards. So, which isn't a hardship for me. I learned it in a class a long time ago, but it is a slower technique, and I just find if I can keep this pattern right in front of me, I make far fewer mistakes in the patterning. So yeah, I only have a few more rows to go before I cast this off. And then excitement is that I'll be able to start the body of the sweater. For those of you who have not been here, or this is your first time, this is the Star Cardi. This is done in a blue colorway. The yarn I'm using is J&S 2-ply. The dark green shade is shade number 34, and the light green is FC62 mix. And this is what it looks like in intact skeins or balls. And I got this from the Woolly Thistle. And I have buttons that I'm intending to put on, but I was also thinking maybe clasps, small clasps would work too, or the way they have it pictured is with the buttons, but I might do clasps, or I might not put anything on at all. I might just leave it as an open cardi, because it is kind of a short cardi. It's not a full cardigan at all. So, but yeah, so that's where I'm at there. I was hoping to be done with the sleeve and started with the cast on the body by now, but you know, distractions. Making hats for your mother comes first, you know. All right, so that's the Star Cardi. And did I tell you the needles? I think it was for the body, it's a size 3 needle, so it's kind of, you know, 2-ply yarn. That's a fingering weight yarn, so it's small work in addition to it being color work. So it takes some time, you know. All right, and here's something new. I think I alluded to the fact that I was going to be taking a knitting class with Pam Grushkin. Pam hails from Florida, but she used to live on, I think, Connecticut she used to live, and she comes back up and does in-person classes at a yarn shop in southern Connecticut, but she also does online classes, and I just find her wonderful. She's got a great sense of humor and very clear instruction. She has the patience of a saint, and I am taking her Ranunculus class. Now, I think I'm the only person or the only knitter on earth that has not made a Ranunculus yet, although I've been assured that is not the case. I think it is, because I can't believe how many projects are out there for the Ranunculus. But anyway, it's we're already finding it interesting. We started a unique cast on for it last Tuesday evening, as well as some short rows, German short rows specifically, and yeah, it's kind of cool. Anyway, I just wanted to show you. I haven't gotten all that far because she does want you to stop at some point. And then tomorrow night's class, Tuesday, another Tuesday night class, we'll go further. And I think we'll start the, it's got some patterning in the yoke, some texture. And so I think that's where we're going to go with that. I do have a black and white picture of the Ranunculus here, just to show you. You'll probably recognize that this girl is probably everywhere on Ravelry. But anyway, that's what the Ranunculus looks like. It has a boatload of ease to it, and I'm not really sure if I want to do all the ease that some projects have, or some of the projects that are out there have a lot of ease in them. Only because I'm a short person and oversized garments just don't do it for me. They don't really look good on me. I tend to go for a more fitted look. So I may just make the smallest size. But you don't have to decide that until after all the texture is done, which is mind-boggling. But anyway, this is my start of the Ranunculus. I'm doing mine in a DK weight yarn, and here's the other thing about this project. You can do this in anywhere from a light fingering, I think a lace or light fingering, all the way up to worsted weight, as long as you make the gauge. And the actual weight of the yarn dictates how much openness in the fabric there is, which makes sense. The yarn I'm using is from Hope Made Yarn Company. She hails from New Jersey. And this is her Splendid DK. It's 85% superwash, extra fine merino, 15% nylon, 4-ply, and it's 246 yards, 200 grams. Yeah, she's down in Seaville, New Jersey. Yeah, and so I also, enjoy taking classes, and I enjoy being amongst other knitters too, and seeing what their take is on certain things. And so yeah, this is what I'm doing. This is a Ranunculus. I don't know how old this pattern is, but I'm just getting around to doing a Ranunculus, so we'll see how it goes. Pam herself has made 4, so I thought it was quite remarkable that she's made this 4 times now. So I've decided that I'll give it a go. Size 10 needles. Yeah, what's not to love? All right, so that's my Ranunculus. And moving on, just wanted to share with you something that's on my radar, something that Pam brought up on Tuesday night. And of course, it's like dangling a carrot in front of me. And this is the field sweater. And if you haven't seen it, oh my, it's a textured yoke sweater. Are you sensing a theme here? Round yoke sweaters for the new year. But anyway, yeah, it's got like kind of these stalks of wheat on the yoke there. So very textured. And some of the projects I've seen have done the texture in a different color. And I went stash diving, and I found a yarn, enough of a yarn, that hopefully I might be casting that on soon. But I want to get a few of these other things done and off the needles and hooks before I tackle this. But it's kind of like I print these pictures out so I can keep something in front of me to remind me that this is the thought I was having at the time. It may change, but you know how that goes. Anyway, the yarn that I have in stash is from Classic Elite, and it's called Telluride. And I think I was going to do a crocheted sweater with this yarn quite a while ago, and just never got around to it. Got distracted with other things, typical. But I only have 2 skeins of this, so time will tell. I will look at the pattern to see if I can just do the wheat stalks in this and then use this as a background color. So Telluride, this is kind of a, yeah, it's kind of a sport to DK weight yarn. And it's 82% superfine alpaca and 12% linen and 6% donickel. So it's tweedy, and I kind of dig a tweed yarn. So we'll see. Like I said, I was in kind of a hurry to get my stuff together, but I didn't print out the rest of the stuff for this pattern. So we'll see about yardage on this one. See if I have enough to do the little wheat stalks in this color. So on top of this color. So we'll see. Yeah, I had something else started with this project, another knitting thing, and that obviously grew cold. So, but hopefully I'll be able to get started on that, and then we can progress along there. All right, so that's all I have to show for knitting. I just wanted to share a little bit about spinning. I went to my local yarn store in Chester, the Six Loose Ladies, and if you've been with me, you know I spin with them at times. I demo spin with them at various locations in Vermont. Usually they're usually homesteads or fairs, you know, that sort of thing. We did the Taste of Vermont, which was over in Ludlow, and we also did the Coolidge Homestead in Plymouth, and that was something I did during Vlogmas. So, but anyway, I went to go spin with them. They have a once-a-month spin-in on a Sunday afternoon. It's usually the second Sunday of the month, and we just sit around, and everybody brings a little sweet to eat, and we spin and talk and have a good time. So that's where I was yesterday, and I wanted to show you some progress that I made. This is Dirty Girl Fiber, or Dirty Girl Yarns and Fiber. She is a Southern Vermont person. She lives in Southern Vermont and dyes her own roving as well as spins up novelty yarns. So she doesn't name her colorways, but I was having a love affair with this color for some reason when I saw it in the hank, or actually I saw it in the braid. So I managed to finish this up yesterday, and then I saw hanging on the wall at Six Loose Ladies another one of her green colorways, which is very similar. This has a little more yellow in it, and there's her card. Her name is Heidi Forch, and it's dirtygirlyarns.com. And like I said, she's in Southern Vermont. This is a Rambouillet, 4 ounces, and yeah, it's kind of like a swampy lichen green. So what I thought I'd do is spin this up, because this was 4 ounces as well, and I was going to apply the two together. Six Loose Ladies is having a little informal contest. Actually it's formal. They're calling it the Variegated Challenge, and what you do is just make anything out of a variegated yarn, and variegated, they said, is very loosely defined. So so I'm thinking, you know, once I find out what this is going to look like together. That kind of probably will qualify as variegated. So we'll see, and maybe I'll make some shorty socks out of this yarn, or actually, yeah, this yarn to be. But anyway, so that's what's going on in spinning. Like I said, I'll be going to Spa, which is in Freeport. It's just a kind of a weekend of makers getting together and doing whatever fibercraft comes to mind for them. I usually bring my spinning wheel, one of them, and I also bring knitting and crocheting with me as well, and we sit around and talk and, you know, just have a ball, and we learn from each other, which is great. Kind of informal learning. There's no set classes or formal classes there. They do have vendors though, and so that'll be fun as well. So, and then I get also to visit one of my favorite yarn shops, Mother of Pearl in Freeport. So, all right, and then I just want to check in real quickly. This is in the crochet realm, but I've put it at the end only because it's a different kind of thing. This is my Romanian lace project, and there is what I'm trying to do, and I'm still working on the cord, but I didn't want to screw it up, you know, like, so I kept starting and restarting, and then I had to get another hook, and so I found these wooden hooks. I have a set of these. They're real small. This is a 1.25 millimeter hook. And I found those were working good for me. So, or working well for me. And so this is done in a size 20 DMC cotton, the cord. And this is where I'm at with the cord. I haven't gotten all that far. But this is the kind of thing where you need strong light and preferably eyesight that's fresh and new, like at the beginning of the day. At least for me, with the tiny work. So yeah, but I'm having a ball with it, and it looks pretty. It's looking pretty even now. I'm kind of satisfied with it. And then once you get a cord long enough, and she tells you in this pattern how long the cord should be, you'll get to baste it onto a pattern, which is drawn out for you on here. Yeah, and then you kind of baste it around, and then you start to actually make the lace in between. So yeah, more on that. Hopefully I won't get too distracted. I do love doing this repetitive type thing, though. I find that kind of, believe it or not, with all the whips I have, I find it kind of soothing. So yeah, stay tuned for Romanian lace, Romanian lace projects. All right, I think that's all I have for today. I am going to put some of the real short footage I took at the 6 Loose Ladies yesterday at the end, so you can just have a gander at the wheels and what people were doing and all the goodies that were laid out and the chit chat, and we even have dogs that come, so you know, it's all inclusive. So but anyway, I'm going to be going to Spa, and I will be podcasting on the Monday right after Spa, so I'll have lots to tell you next time around about that wonderful weekend in February. So until then, take care of yourselves, keep crafting, and I will talk to you soon.